Graham, sorry, yeah, first chance we've had to speak to you since the Tottenham game was called off. Did you feel that was the right call, and just how have you spent the time since helping and preparing the team for this Wolves game?
Yes, it was a bit of a... Sorry. Bit of feedback on the technology there. I mean, it was a fairly obvious one in terms of the seriousness of the outbreak at Tottenham. So once you hear that, then it's about the safety and health of the players and people there. So supported that decision to cancel the game and then or postpone the game. Sorry, and then we've just been preparing for Wolves.
And how are you looking for that Wolves game? I know there were some reports you had up to 9 players possibly missing this time last week. Has that situation eased at all for you?
No, it's around that number, I would say, with a combination of injury and a bit of COVID ourselves. So obviously Lewis Dunk will miss because we won't see him until January. Adam Webster's getting close, outside chance for the weekend, but not this game. So yeah, Jeremy's had his operation. That's gone well, but obviously not available for the game. And then like I said, a couple more. Shane suspended, and then a bit of illness as well. So yeah, it's a test at the moment in terms of that, but an opportunity for the guys that have been waiting, that are desperate to play and want to help the team. So we're excited for that.
You mentioned possibly some of the absentees with COVID problems. How many positive cases have you got at the moment among the playing staff?
We're around three-ish, 4. I would say at the moment, and obviously that that's just something we have to deal with like everybody else. And then we're just making sure that it's that it's at that number.
And does it get to a point that what happened with Tottenham last week? Do you have to monitor that so closely, and in the event you have to maybe make a request to even postpone the Wolves game, or have you managed to contain it enough, do you think? Yeah,
no, we've not spoken about that at all. I think everybody's in the same position in terms of you're trying to monitor it just to make sure that it isn't. You're not playing games with guys with COVID, because obviously there's a health issue there, and there's also spreading it to the teams, etc., etc. So we've just got to do what we can, which is to keep monitoring it, testing, and making sure we can keep the number as low as possible.
And have you plans for a next round of testing among the players when you find out? Are you planning another round of tests before the Wolves game?
No, we've had some today, so we'll see how we go today, and then make a decision whether we have to do another one tomorrow. But I think that's normal at the moment. We're in that stage where we just want to make sure that it isn't there isn't a spread or isn't too serious than what it already is when you've got 2 or 3 already out.
And I guess, Graham, it's a common theme at the moment. It's going to be very difficult for football clubs and indeed beyond football, everyone in society, to deal with this new variant. Have you any thoughts on just how challenging the next maybe month or 2 is going to be as a football manager, when clearly there are things beyond football that you're going to have to take into consideration?
Yeah, I think we're all in the same position. That's the only thing I would say about it. I mean, the first and foremost, the health and safety of the players and everybody around is the most important thing. So we do whatever we can to make sure that's right and done as well as possible. And then we've seen already people will miss games because of this. The trick is for it not to be so serious that the numbers are too big. And like I said, I think Antonio Conte made a good point. You test one day, but the following day it's a negative, but the next day is a positive. So it's just making sure that I suppose guys aren't going to the football pitch with positive COVID that you don't know yet.
Graham, I'm sorry to bring it back to COVID, but as a father figure to these young men, these young players, how worrying is it to see this situation rearing its head again?
Well, It's unfortunately it is what it is. As a society, and the world is having to deal with this. So in football we're the same. We're having to educate and protect and help as much as we can, and we're doing that, I think, really, really well. But of course, it's like I said, when it's we can test the concern for me, I suppose, at the moment is just making sure that the guys aren't going onto the pitch with COVID, essentially, because like I said, you can test on a Monday, but you can still pick it up. You can still be not detected by the time you're playing. So that's the only thing that I guess is. But that's something that we've been dealing with throughout. It's just obviously as it's more and more of it around, it becomes a little bit more conscious in the brain. But all we can do is what we're doing, which is adhering to protocols, doing our best to test, to make sure we have a good idea of the health and status of our players, and then there's a bit of fingers crossed as well.
What have you made of Wolves recently?
Well, I think they've improved, from what was already good under Nuno. I think Bruno's come in and added his own bits, I think, without, like I said, changing too much there. Experienced team, the two midfield players, can control the game really well for them. Good shape and structure about them. I think they start the season, they got off to a bad start in terms of results, but for performances were really good. So they've turned that round, and I think recently they've played Liverpool and Manchester City. Narrow defeats, but just goes to show how organised they are defensively, especially defend the goal in the box and defend as a team really, really well. So don't concede many chances. So it's going to be exciting challenge for us. We're going to need our supporters. We're going to need to understand the patience and how Wolves are really, really good defensively. So we need to be at our best.
At the start of the year, when you met them at the Amex, it was a bit of a ding-dong, 3-3. It was a great fight back from you guys. Did that? I'm not expecting you to say that sort of kick-started the year, but it injected something, didn't it, after a few struggles, and then the year since then has been largely good. Yeah,
I would say. I mean, I think I came it was the end of the year, if I remember, or whether it was the start of the year. I can't remember where the exact dates, but yeah, I think we started off well, or we got ahead, and then we conceded some goals, and all of a sudden you're 3-1 down at half time, and it's a bit of a mountain to climb. But credit to the boys, then they got back really well, and I think, like you say, that seemed to give us some springboard to go on. We were probably a little bit frustrated before that because we played well but didn't get the results, and you can't feel sorry for yourself, certainly not in the Premier League. You have to keep going, and credit to the boys, they've always done that. So but Wolves have got some good players. They've got some good players. They're a good team. They're strong. So we need to be good, and we need to be at our best, and we'll certainly try.
And you mentioned their defensive solidity. I've been doing some basic maths, which may well let me down, but I think this season, in 18 games in all competitions, you've only conceded 18 goals, and it seems quite a stark improvement on 27 goals at this stage last season, 28 the year before. How pleased are you with, particularly because it hasn't been a settled back four or back three, how pleased are you with that structure and how everyone is working within it?
Yeah, really pleased. As I said before, I think we've had a lot of clean sheets this year. Our goals against is good. That gives you a chance in games. I think it's important to have that balance. But I think, like you allude to, it's a collective mentality. Really, it's a team effort to defend, to be solid, to be strong. So, credit to all the boys, because, like I said, it's not just the goalkeeper or the centre backs or whoever's playing in the back three. It's everyone, and everyone's contributed to that.
Yeah, Graham, I was just going to say, Leandro Trossard was sort of taken off the field of play last we saw. Is that elbow an issue, or is he okay?
No, he's fine. He's one of bits of good news, Johnny.
That's good. You're missing three key central defenders, Dunk, Webster and Duffy. Tell us a little bit about Hayden Roberts. And he's a youngster, but full of promise. Is he someone that you can consider in that position?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's been training with us all season. We understand his qualities. He's got a nice future ahead of him, but obviously still learning and still developing. But he's in contention.
And in terms of the long term, Lallana, Welbeck, where are they at in terms of their recovery?
Adam has got a chance to make the bench on Wednesday, I think. So that's really positive. Danny's made good progress as well. So he's the game on Wednesday will probably come too soon for him, but he's making really good progress.
When you get in this really difficult position, Graham, do you have to start thinking a little bit more laterally? I mean, people talk about players playing in different positions. This idea of maybe like a hybrid player, is that something that you see as something that has developed in recent years and something that you consider very seriously?
Well, I think we're probably used for players to be, playing in slightly different positions or unorthodox positions, and I've always thought that if you have injuries or if you have problems, it's not about complaining about them. They're part of the game. They are what they are, and then you have to use your creativity within the group to look for a different solution. We haven't got another Lewis Dunk, we haven't got another Shane Duffy. It's just in terms of attributes, but we can maybe use other players in a creative way and to help us do the same things which we've always done, which is to try to be solid defensively, to have an organisation defensively, to have a clarity in terms of how we're pressing or where we're defending. So in answer to your question, simply yes, I think it's important to have that.
And in terms of Wolves, obviously improving side, I know they've had a couple of tricky opponents recently, but they're going to miss Raul Jimenez. How much of a blow is that, and how does that affect your preparation?
Well, they'll probably say the same. They haven't got another Raul Jimenez. They have to adjust. They've got a lot of players in that attacking position. Those front three attacking positions, they're quite fluid in there, and I think the structure behind them helps them. So, they've done, like I said, they've done well. They've got they suffered at the start of the season, I think, by playing well and not winning, not getting the results. Otherwise, I think they'd be a lot higher than where they are. So we respect what they're doing. But we've got our own issues ourselves, so it's part of life. You have to deal with people missing, and then you have to just get on with it and try to find the best solution for your team.